Garfield in. A Monday too far. Garfield was resting in his warm box thing, Pookie in one hand and lasagna in the other, 'cause you know, he's Garfield. He woke up, neatly folded his bed and put Pookie inside, and after eating his pre-breakfast lasagna, he began talking to Odie, who had been next to him the whole night, watching him sleep. "Good morning, Odie," Garfield said. Odie barked. "What do you mean, Odie? Why wouldn't I be happy on such a beautiful day?" Odie barked a reply, but was cut off halfway. "Now let's get some grub. I'm starving." Odie then barked a bark of distress, as Garfield was about to realize something truly terrible. Once Garfield got into the kitchen, he noticed Jon had already begun setting out the lasagna. "Good morning, Garfield. You sure look well rested. Take a seat and eat some lasagna." Garfield then sat down and shoveled some lasagna into his mouth, while picking up the newspaper nearby. How strange, he thought. The area where the date is usually shown is cut out. Feeling a bit curious, Garfield looked at the calendar, which was currently hidden away in the garbage can outside and on fire. "Hey Jon," Garfield said in a very suspicious tone of voice. "Yes, Garfield, what can I do you for?" "Is there any specific reason why the date's cut out of today's paper?" said the Tubby Tabby. "What could give you such a crazy idea?" Jon replied, sounding pretty tense. "Jon, are you sure you're not keeping something from me?" "Of course not, Garfield! Here, have some more lasagna!" The words, "Please don't hurt us," were written on the pasta. "Hey, wait a minute, Jon." But before things could get any more tense, Jon's neighbor decided it was the perfect time to walk by. "Morning, Jon. I'd love to talk right now, but I gotta get to work. Tell Odie I said hi." Garfield began to have an epiphany. Wait, but wasn't yesterday the weekend? Then that means... Meanwhile in the living room, Odie was running around in circles or something when he heard a high-pitched screech coming from the kitchen. Odie rolled his eyes and walked into the kitchen to see Garfield having a conniption. Conniption? "Holy crap! Why didn't anyone tell me?" Garfield said before going ballistic. The fat feline began to flip the table in front of him and started to punch holes in the walls. He grabbed a knife from the kitchen counter and stabbed Jon in the kidneys, who was luckily wearing his lead vest, which he wore every Monday. Odie and Jon were used to Garfield's antics of Monday damnation, but it wasn't always this way, and as Odie barked in reminiscence, he remembered how it all started. It was a lush spring morning when the greatest scientists, physicians, and smartly dressed primates had come together to analyze Garfield. After his father had died in a skiing accident on a Monday and his mother mysteriously vanished the Monday after that, it was plain to see that the fine orange feline had developed a rare case of mondaniaphobia, which in Latin meant a really bad case of the Mondays. The scientists had told Jon and Odie that once they found strong enough to therapy, he would be on the route of recovery. But things would get worse as the Monday strolled by him. He was a different cat back then, but now it seems that this was the Monday that many had theorized would come, the alleged one Monday too many, which was said to send Garfield off the edge. Odie didn't want to admit it, but they had been right. "Odie!" shrieked Garfield. Odie barked a silent reply. "Get in the car, Odie. We're going to the White House," the fat cat said while running to his box bed, grabbing Pookie and a handgun. All he had to do was stare at Jon and he had gotten his car keys. He then grabbed Jon, chucked him through the kitchen wall, landing on his neighbor's car. Garfield proceeded to run through the Jon-shaped hole and slid on the hood of the car like they do in those cop movies. Odie hopped in too and decided it was best if he kept his mouth shut for the time being. But as Garfield began to drive the car on the sidewalk at about 200 miles per hour, the canine companion became a little too concerned. If Garfield's random babbling was correct, he was off to the White House to do something despicable. A few countries later... Countries! Garfield was almost to the White House in record time, running over people and crashing through houses the whole way. And without gas too, he had broken holes in the bottom of the car and gone full leg power, which actually increased his speed. No one could grab a hold of Garfield. Tanks would roll in the way of Garfield's collision course, but he would just plow through them. Odie had been silent the whole way, not only because he couldn't talk in the first place. A loud crash startled Odie, but had only given Garfield a sign he was where he wanted to be. Jon's car was lodged into the walls of the White House, where Garfield managed to tie up the president and guards at speeds only a Monday hater like Garfield could achieve. What was his plan? Odie thought to himself as he did a backflip out of the wrecked vehicle. This question would soon be answered as Garfield switched on the camera near him and broadcasted his ransom to the world. People of America, I, Garfield, have your president in my grasp, and I expect to blow his head clean off if my demands aren't met. I suggest you burn any calendar you find, and officially make Monday nothing more than the dream of a madman. Every week will be 6 days, and as you all know, once I kill the president, I will absorb his essence, becoming the new president of the United States. I will turn this fair land into a heavily guarded super prison, unless you do as I say. But if Mondays are not off the face of the earth in the next 30 minutes, then someone might as well start making me a presidential lasagna. The world had become stricken with panic, of course. They tried to remove all calendars, newspapers, and anything else that mentioned Mondays. But it wouldn't matter, because there will always be a day after the weekend. There will always be a Monday and no one could change that. Someone had to speak up, but who? "Stop right there," said Odie, surprising everyone. "Odie? How can this be? You've never talked a day in your life, and why now, at my hour of achievement, do you speak? And why, Odie, does your voice sound so familiar?" replied the confused cat. "That's because there has never been an Odie, Garfield. It's always been me," said the mysterious figure as they took off their Odie costume. "Your mother." Everyone gasped. "Mom, it really is you. But say what you will, killing Monday is the only way I can avenge my dear father." "I wouldn't be so sure about that, son," said yet another unknown voice. But then Pookie began to vibrate, and out came the and out came the loving father of Garfield. "Mom, Dad, I'm so glad to see you again," Garfield said while giving his parents a long emotional hug. "But why did you do it?" asked literally everybody. "Well, you see, son, we spent all this time telling you the importance of Mondays," replied Momfield. "That's right, honey. Anyone can complain that the weekend is over, but it takes a real person to see that we need to cherish all the free time we get," said Dadfield as he began to untie the president, who seemed really calm about the whole ordeal. "And all it took was a fake death and years without having parents," said Momfield. "Well, let's get home, you guys. Can you ever forgive me?" Garfield said, looking all sad about the mess he had caused. "Nonsense, my dear boy. If this is what it took to show the importance of Mondays, then it's fine by me." "Thanks," the feline said with a twinkle in his eye. So Garfield was reunited with his family and finally saw the importance of Mondays. The family of Garfields lived their days in Jon's house, telling stories and laughing the hours away. Unfortunately, after all information on Monday was destroyed that fateful day, the president decided to rename the day of the week Garfield Day. And after a slight typo in the official citing, Monday is now forever known as Gorfield Day. And that is the story about how a once hate-filled furball like Garfield learned to love every day of the week, which is weird considering he doesn't even work. Why did he even hate Mondays in the first place?